Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go through a list of people on YouTube and in politics that lie. They are lying politicians. And we're going to show you how they lied, who they lied, and now voter fraud was committed. If it was committed, and a high probability exists that voter fraud was committed, why it is 100% Trump's fault. I also want to make the announcement that we're going to talk about a few different so-called YouTube vloggers and how they have put information on the internet that is just not true. Things they cannot back up. Some things they are backing out of, backsliding, the Bible would call it. They are backsliding on YouTube. And they will be doing a lot more backsliding. I have been watching a new series of videos on YouTube, a completely different and obscure series of videos on YouTube, where someone, a very famous blogger, is going to put out videos proving one thing is true and something else is not true. And there have been bloggers that said things about this man who lives in Bahal, and now he is putting out evidence. I saw a notice. I'm not subscribed to his channel. I'm not going to get involved with watching that man's videos, but he has put out a video saying that there is evidence proving that he is innocent. And I did watch it, and it did appear to be correct, the videos. I mean, they even have some people sending me video links to prove that one guy is against another guy, and the guy who said he was against one guy and is against one guy, the guy who said bad things about the other guy, said that the other guy did certain things, and the other guy says that he didn't do certain things, and he has video proof. That's a whole different ball of wax. And he has called out these so-called YouTube researchers, and they are backing down. So I'm banging the bell because I want you to know that the super chat button is up and working again. And I also, while we're on that topic, it's only going to take a few seconds. If you are collecting money from Patreon, or if you are collecting money on Super Chat and you did not file your taxes, the probability is high that you're going to get reported from somebody, because we have a lot of rats on YouTube. So, and now let me get to my notes. So let's talk about Mr. Trump. If there was voter fraud, all right, I could see that no one got my notice. I have 2 people watching. That's amazing. Let's talk about Mr. Trump. I have 20,000 subscribers, and no one got a notice from my show today. That's amazing. You don't think that YouTube has algorithms that change the course of people's channels? Well, you're wrong about that. Even Jimmy Dore, who has 832,000 subscribers, made a video a few weeks ago how his subscriber base is not getting notifications for his videos. And then Jimmy Dore made it clear as day that even when he posts a video, it doesn't get any kind of notoriety in the look for or search boxes. You have to search the video titles, put the exact name and info. So Jimmy Dore said that his subscriber view count went down 85%, I think it was, in the last year. So all of the big YouTubers are getting destroyed if they don't go along with the political correctness. And far be it from me, I am probably one of the least politically correct people on YouTube, because I tell you the truth. And we're going to I have notes. I have notes about the slob. I have notes about Trump. I have notes about voter fraud. I have notes about how many new votes came into a state called Wisconsin, Wisconsin. 100. I have a video up on my tabs page. 100,000 votes came in at 3:45 in the morning. 100,000 votes for the Biden, and 0 of those found votes were for Trump. And whose fault is this? It's Trump's fault. Make no doubt about it. Why is it Trump's fault? Because Trump, as did all the previous presidents going back to the election in Florida in 2012, they all promised that they would fix the voter registration fraud issue. And not one, not even one, not one, I say, never did anything about voter fraud registration. Now, I have a comment I made. And where are we getting our news from? I'm getting it from the Australian news industry, newsmen and women. Why am I getting news about the voter registration fraud and voter registration counts from an Australian newspaper? I don't know if I could see this. U.S. presidential. I'm gonna show you this.
Good morning to you.
U.S. presidential election in limbo as counting remains underway, and it's amazing. Now this video got 29,000 views in an hour and a half, and I posted that the voter registration has been a joke. Trump never did anything about it, just like in the title of this video. And then I have probably 40 commenters. Was it 40 comments on my comment, and a couple of hundred, or no, I think it was 199 in one of these hundreds. And they're giving me information, which I knew, but they are just confirming that the voter registration is never going to be fixed, number one. Number two, they don't want to fix it. They never wanted to fix it, and they're never going to fix it. Because we even have conspiracy theories out there that this jabba-dabba-doo syndrome was put in place so that voter registration would not be in person, and that the votes would be counted via some online and some through mail-in ballots, and that would give them more time to rig the election. So there's people out there, hundreds of people out there, thousands of people out there. That guy's, the Australian news video, I'll give you the name of the title. The Australian news company that put out that title, it got 30,000 views in less than 2 hours, and probably not 3% agreed that we have a good voting registration system. Some of them actually know what the truth is, and here's the truth about voter registration fraud. And then we're going to get into some of the bloggers who lie and how they can earn a lot of money making wagers against me about things they have said, and they can't prove a single word of it. So Trump said that he was going to fix the voter registration fraud. He didn't do it. This is his fault. This isn't anybody else's fault. Now, in regards to the jabba-dabba-doo syndrome and it being a conspiracy at this point, that they knew how to rig everything in advance. Now, do you not understand that billionaires that run the world rule the world? They don't run it. They rule the world. Do you not understand that they have methods to use computers and access for computer databases that you and I don't have? Do you not understand that? Are you completely ignorant of what can be done on a computer? First of all, this guy, Trump. Now, a lot of my friends got mad that I made videos about Trump, And I can see by the amount of people that Google and YouTube has sent out notifications for that they are 100% upset with the Fazio, Michael Fazio. And well, they should be. I talk against their narrative, which is what's occurring right now in voter registration fraud. Maybe it was the title that upset them, that I have now 8 people out of 20,000 subscribers that have come to watch my live stream. Maybe they don't care about the election. I don't think that's the case. Maybe they're just too stupid to believe that voter registration fraud can take place in the year 2020. I don't know what their problem is, but one thing for sure, if you have, and this was a news article on that Australian site, if you have 100,000 views from a Democratic city that stopped the voting sometime at 8 o'clock at night with 2 other democratically controlled cities, and then at 3:45 in the morning, 100,000 new votes come in, and 100,000 votes are for Biden and 0 are for Trump. If that was true, I mean, I'm only reading the article. I didn't count them. If I counted them, we would have the truth. If Jack Thompson counted them, we would have the truth. If Scott Del Fuego counted them, we would have the truth. If Dennis Adam counted them, we would have the truth. If Blue Rose counted them, we would have the truth. If Warren Hunt counted them, we would have the truth. But we don't get the truth anymore on the internet. Just take a look at what has happened to this farce that we call an election. And take a look at a guy who calls himself the Slob, who walks around Las Vegas picking up, I forgot what the name of those little when somebody gets like a voucher, I think it was, for 9 cents or 10 cents, they're not going to walk over to the window and wait for 5 or 10 minutes for 10 cents. People's time is worth a lot more than that. But we have a slob that's doing that, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. I think that picking up those monetary vouchers for even 9 cents, some of them were $9.99. It might, who knows, maybe one day he'll find one for $500. But to abuse other people for being broke on YouTube and then making videos that he's walking around, he has a routine to walk around all the casinos in Las Vegas to pick up these vouchers and make a video showing you stack of vouchers like that, which I think he got a few $100s for. But how much time did it take him to do that? And it doesn't matter. That's a good thing that he's doing. But to call other people broke and beggars, e-beggars on YouTube, how? We're going to get involved with the slob in a minute. I have something else I want to talk about. So just understand this. Trump is the reason voter fraud occurred, and he knew it was going to occur. Do you not understand that everything that's done in politics worldwide and or globally or on the flat earth or even on the bottom of the flat earth, everything is done with a purpose? The jabba dabba do, probably, and most definitely, in my opinion, has something to do with the near future and population growth. Let's call it growth, because let's just do a doublespeak, like a George Orwell doublespeak. Let's call it population growth. That's what George Orwell would call it. Just like they call the clean new bill that they're going to eliminate all fossil fuels in the next 10 years. And that's going to save the world. Well, where are they going to eliminate the fossil fuels? In America, which would mean that China, Korea, Japan, and Russia would still have fossil fuels. And how stupid is the Green New Deal in and of itself? Do you not understand? I'm not getting any comment. Somebody make a comment. Do you not understand? Is this thing live? It's live. I could see it. Do you not understand that elimination of fossil fuels is just not possible? And yet they want to eliminate fossil fuel. Are you crazy? Do you not understand how trucks move across the nation? Thanks, Scott. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for making a comment. Scott P., welcome to the machine. 2006 Crusader. I guess that was when you joined YouTube. Welcome to the machine, 2006 Crusader. So, do you not understand how goods and supplies commerce is moved across the nation? I have on my channel one man who just got a $1.25 million commendation for not 1.25 million, 1.25 million mile commendation for traveling over the road in big rigs, singles, doubles, and possibly triples. $1.25 million, a million mile commendation for no accidents. And he's been a long-term subscriber. His name is Spanky9067. He might be watching, he might not be watching, but thank you for sharing that with me, Spanky. So, and then we have Pennsylvania Trucker, another man's man. These are men's men. They risk their lives and other people's lives on the open road, getting commerce. How are we going to have a new Green Deal? How are we going to have the Green Deal with trucks? How are they going to make electric trucks? It's just not going to happen. And not only that, you morons, you uneducated simpletons of the world, for 50 years, they've been telling you how they can change how the automobile industry works using batteries instead of fossil fuels. That is one of the biggest frauds that has ever been committed in the history of the world. The fact that they can make an electric car that saves money and or carbon, C-A-R-B-O-N, carbon exhaust is a lie. It's an outright lie. Yes, you plug the car in for 3 hours, it charges up. And that day that you use the car, you don't commit a carbon footprint. But here's the biggest lie ever perpetrated on mankind, besides the fact that the Vatican says the earth is round. Of course, that's probably the biggest lie. That might even be the great secret you get when you become a 33rd degree Mason. I don't know. I'm not that far. But anyway, the carbon footprint of the car that day for plugging the electric in, first of all, it's a fraud, it's a lie, it's a scam. There is no savings on carbon footprints when it comes to electric cars, because that carbon footprint that you save by plugging in the car to the electric grid that day has to get electric from somewhere, and it's probably from a coal-fired power plant. But which they closed down. Remember, Obama closed them all down, that so that they could go nuclear, because the governments make even more money on the profit from nuclear, because they have to store the nuclear waste, and they have to have government agencies store the nuclear waste. For what? They say 100,000 years. They can't get the voter registration straightened out in the last 20. And now they're going to keep track of 1 million tons or 100 million tons of radioactive nuclear waste. With what are they going to do that? It's not going to happen. It's a plan. And then there are over 100 major nuclear accidents in the last 50 years that you never heard of. But anyway, they plugged the car into the electric grid. In order to get that electric from a nuclear power plant, it costs $10 billion to make the power plant. How much money, how much carbon was created to make a $10 billion power plant? Take that into effect. Then, how much carbon is going to be used moving the equipment and digging the holes and making the concrete to store the equipment? And then, how much carbon footprint is there to make a battery for those cars? If you knew how much poisonous chemicals and materials and caustic chemicals and materials are used to make a battery in an electric car, then you would understand that it's probably 5-fold the amount of carbon footprint to make the battery. And then what do they do with the battery? They make these batteries last between 5 and 7 years. So you don't save any money on buying the car, because in 5 or 7 years, you have to replace the battery in the car. It's a total fraud. And it costs more to replace the battery in the car than you would have spent on gasoline for those 5 years that you used it. Then you have solar heating and solar electric. More fraud, more fraud. Just like Trump's fraud that he was going to fix the election. More fraud, solar heating. So you get, one of my friends got solar heating for his house near the house that I owned in Key Largo, by the way. We're going to get into that in a minute. All you great YouTube researchers, we're going to give you the option to win or lose $10,000. We're going to put up some Fazio challenges in a few minutes. So a friend of mine gets a price quote for between $25,000 and $30,000 to put solar heating on his house. But, it comes with a guarantee for 30 years. And he did that because he worked for the government and got a 1% loan. Well, I talked to him last year off YouTube, and his solar panels that he put up on the roof are failing. And I left in 2013. He put them in 2012. Some of the panels are failing to where now, the day after he put the solar panels on, let's say he collected $1 worth of electric. We're just going to make it simple for the simple-minded, like George Carlin said. Let's keep it simple, stupid. So let's say on day one, the nuclear, the solar cells on the roof collected $1 worth of energy. Within 48 hours, on the same, there are also meters to tell you how much sun existed on the roof. Within 48 hours, that went down to 90%. Why did it go down to 90%? Well, I could tell you because I did a lot of research on this subject. It went down to 90% because the photoelectric transmitters that changed light into energy, after the initial light hit them, lost a value of 10% within 48 hours. Some places, if there's less light, they lose 5%. Other places where there's less light than that, they lose 2 or 3%. But they all lose between 3 and 10% in the first 48 hours. After that, the reduction in electrical changing from light to solar power is less. But over the course of 10 years, there's like a 55% of what it was originally. But there's still a $30,000 investment. Now, if you had to pay 8% or 10% on that loan over the course of 30 years, what do you save in electric? Nothing. But the big fraud is that the solar panels are put on the roof with the understanding that no one will ever dismantle them. Well, the roofs in Florida don't last 30 years. They last 15 on a wooden house with tar-based shingles, you call them tab shingles. They last 15 years maximum on the eastern side of the house, and that's where they put the solar panels. So that means all the solar panels have to be removed, the new roof has to be put down, and they have to put the solar panels back, and that voids out the warranty. It's a total fraud, just like Trump. And I know people get pissed off at me because I'm not anti-Trump, I'm anti-liars. Liar is what Trump is, a liar. Now, as far as who wins, doesn't matter. Doesn't make a difference. Whoever wins, wins. And whoever loses, loses. But whoever's fault it is, it's not Biden's fault that Trump is going to lose if he loses. It's Trump's fault for telling you he was going to fix voter fraud and never did a damn thing about it. And then they wait until the week before to change the rules in Pennsylvania. Why? Trump and all his magical thinking could not figure out that this was going to happen. Do you not understand that Trump has advisors that he pays hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to figure this stuff out? Trump's lawyers were paid in advance $25 million to get right on this. This is a fraud on the American people. This is a fraud on the world. I'm going to read the comments. I'm going to tell you guys again. I'm going to tell you, if you have a super chat button on your page and you didn't file taxes, I don't want to see anybody crying if you get reported to the BIR, because to get those BIR paperwork in place, I went back and forth to the BIR, spent more than 20 hours on 5 different days, and in time, that would be $1,000 worth of my time to get my tax records in order. And then I had to go back on the 27th of October to pay my quarterly taxes, which is 3%. So if you have a super chat button or if you have a Patreon account and you're collecting taxes, and somebody that did go through all this tax rigmarole is seeing you making a big amount of money or even a small amount of money on your super chat button, and you don't have your tax information in order and they rat you out, that's your problem. That's not anybody else's problem, just like it's Trump's problem that he may lose the election. And if he loses the election, he deserves to lose the election. And if he wins the election, he's still a liar. It's what politicians do. So I'll read the comments. I'll put Mr. Trump down. Put him down, Michael Fazio, put him down. I'll get Mr. Obama, because now when you want to talk about deception, Mihai Bravo said it all comes down to choosing between two evils. That's true. Now we have Sweet State Vlogs. Princess Anne. Welcome, Princess Anne. How are you today? I see that you're very active on some people's channels, and we appreciate that, Princess Anne. Thank you for that. John Wayne, 2020. Hey, John Wayne. The next presidential election is going to be Fazio Thompson, 2024. 2 men that will have each other's back at all times and tell you the truth. Probably will be in office for about, I don't know, probably less than a week, and some terrible accident will if we're in the White House will probably get some sort of massive problem, and we will be non-existent in the future. But Fazio Thompson, Fazio, maybe I'll let Jack put his name in the head of Thompson Fazio for president 2024. This way, everybody knows. Everybody, well, not everybody. There's a lot of stupid people out there. Let me see this. Scott P. I will tell you, not many of the YouTubers went through the tax process. That's a good question. I would say, I don't know of anybody else that went through the tax process. I think, and I don't watch Rike's videos, I think he did. I did. And as far as everyone else is concerned, I would think that the guy, a cheesy Philippines, has another, the Ahern family. I saw a video yesterday where he makes $11,000 a month. He showed it on a YouTube video. I would imagine he did. He went through the process. So that would be myself, a cheesy, the Ahern family, and Rike. Those are the only 4 that I can think of off the top of my head. The rest of them, when you mention the BIR and the tax roll in their video comments, your comments gets deleted. Or they just ignore it, like they didn't read the comment. Just like Big Kevin ignores when the hemorrhoid comes on his channel and abuses every single decent blogger in the Philippines and in America, or every day. Big Kevin makes like he didn't see the comment. That's what they do when they know the truth is being said and they need the views. That's what they do. They just ignore the comment. I made comments on several people's pages that's supposed to that have a super chat button, and when I made the comment, they ignored it. But they read everybody else's comment before and after, and they were reading the comments one by one. So I would imagine those people won't show you proof. I've showed you proof. So that's a good question. Thanks for answering that. I'll vote for you if you make the Netherlands a U.S. state. The Netherlands, Jack, I'll talk it over with Jack tonight, but I'm sure he'll be agreeable to this situation. Jack Thompson is busy this week. He's got something that he's doing. I don't think you're going to see Jack on here, but I'll talk it over with my future president, Jack Thompson, and we'll get the Netherlands in on the USA on the dole, because by the time 2024 comes around, you people are so screwed. Businesses closing by the hundreds of thousands across the United States. They have riots breaking out in every major democratic city across the United States that you're not seeing a single word about the riots, not protests, riots that are occurring right now as I'm speaking. Unless you go to, I'll give you the name of the site. You go to, you got to go to Sky News Australia. That's where you got to go. If you want the truth about the presidential elections, and you want the truth about what some call protests and some call riots all across America, this is the channel you got to go to.